Well, right in the middle of the exhibition season. It's pretty much halfway now, isn't it? We're about, a week and a half in. Got another week, and then we get into Germany. Well, we're coming off an exhibition game against Winnipeg last night, and we're going to focus on the forwards today. And I guess the player that stood out the most was the man with 2 goals, and that was Kailer Yamamoto, at least on the score sheet. That's who stood out. Matty, you were in Winnipeg. From what I saw, and searching YouTube and finding the highlights of the game, Yamamoto was standing in front of the net where he normally does, and he obviously gets his stick in the right place.
Well, he looked this good last year in the preseason too, so I guess we should temper it a shade. He got 5 goals last year in the preseason. He's got 4 now, but he seems to be doing a little bit more this season than last year, where it was just trying to make the team as an offensive player. Now they're using him to kill some penalties, and he played left wing in Winnipeg, not right wing. So if you can't make the team on right wing, you put him over to left wing and play.
Yamamoto again looked really good in training camp last year, and then once you saw regular season opponents, he wasn't quite the same guy. You could tell he had some growth. So I think they're going to be taking a look at he and McLeod and a lot of those guys, Reeder, everybody now. The rosters are going to get a little tougher. The opponents are going to be a little more NHL caliber, even though they won't fully be there yet. So I think they got, like you said, three games to go before they go to Germany. They're going to have to get that team picked fast. I mean, they got 3 games in 5 days here. How many right wingers do they have? So Yamamoto has a good look at it, just for the simple reason that Tobias Reeder hasn't been great. And Jesse Puljujarvi is still a work in progress. So not quite by default because he's been good, but there's still a way to go before I would consider him a lock solid NHL right winger, top 6.
Now, Ryan McLeod, he's still here. He's 19. He's second-round pick of the Oilers this past June. Why is he still here? What's he done to stick around?
Well, if they didn't like him, as Todd McLellan says, he'd be back with his junior team because their season's already started. So he's done enough, and he's played every game. I think he played all 3 of the rookie games, and he played 4 of the NHL games too. So I didn't think he was as good in Winnipeg. I thought he was okay. The level of competition was a little higher. But he's going to get an entry-level contract through this, if nothing else. He's going to get a contract and go back to junior with a contract. Sounds like he's going to get at least 1 more game, of either Vancouver or Arizona to show what he can do.
Yeah, and the bottom 6 hasn't really knocked anybody's socks off either. So I mean, keep him around to just so they can maybe look over the shoulder and then give him a sense of what the level he needs to get to get a full-time spot.
And there's also we've already brought up the third line, but that seems to be almost a set unit, doesn't it? With Puljujarvi, Strome, and Kyra. Puljujarvi had that strong game a couple of games ago, in which he scored a couple of goals. Was it 2 goals or was it 1? I think
not there, but he scored 1. Yeah,
it was 1.
Yeah,
he looked He looked very comfortable.
Yeah, he's a confident, much more confident player, much more at ease. Again, he's another work in progress. It's going to take him a little bit longer than other players for various reasons. But if he ever becomes who they envision him becoming, he'll be a power in this league. Like, he's a big guy with a big shot who skates well. And you're seeing a little bit of that evolution this season. From last year to this year, he just seems like a more confident guy. He seems like he's willing to do sometimes too much. Like, he's still all over the ice a little bit, not to the extent where Nail Yakupov was just as somebody said, looked like he was being chased by bees. But Puljujarvi is he's taken a step forward, which is important in a player that age. So that's a good sign so far.
If we do have Yamamoto making the team, he's going to have to play with Draisaitl and Lucic, isn't he?
Yeah, top 6 for sure. Otherwise, no.
I mean, does that unit work? I guess it would have to.
It should work. I don't have a problem.
I mean, I don't know.
It should work. I mean,
I guess they would have had Kajula on there.
Yeah, I mean,
smaller player.
I think Kyler goes to where you got to go. The other 2 guys are huge compared to him. He's 153, and Lucic, I'm sure, could bench press him 100 times, I'm sure, if he felt like it. So, but he's got enough skill, and I think he's a smart enough player to certainly play with Leon, who's a smart player.
How do you see the defense shaping up at this point? I mean, who stays, who goes?
Well, like Bouchard, if it was just what he does when the puck's on his stick, he's a lock. Like, he's one of their better players right now with, you know, the way he moves the puck, the way he skates, the way he passes the puck, the way he shoots. You know, he's that part of his game is NHL, very, very close to NHL ready. It's the actual defending part of being a defenseman that they all struggle with. You know, like talking to Nurse today, he was saying that was the biggest adjustment in the league. And it's one thing to skate well and shoot well and move the puck well, but if you're getting scored on a lot when you're on the ice, they can't play. So, I mean, that's what he's looking at with Barron Bouchard, because ideally you want them around for their offensive abilities. But, you know, in a 3-2 league, you can't give up very many easy goals. So, you know, that's what McLellan's going to be watching down the stretch here, because he would like one, unlikely both, but he would like, you know, one of those guys to be locking up a spot. So
Jarabek looks like the extra defenseman. If they want to keep somebody who's a little more experienced, then he can play both sides, although I haven't been impressed at all with him in the preseason myself. He's a bit of a risk taker to me. He gambles. And, you know, his versatility is nice because you can play him on either side, especially in a game where somebody gets hurt, you can move him over.
Well, like we talked about recently, I mean, you know, where's the right place for Bouchard to be? You know, back with his London team, and maybe, you know, they weren't a power last year. I don't know if that's the prognosis this year. Maybe not. But yeah, it's a bit of a quandary. But I suppose
send him back, you'd be playing in the World Junior.
True.
You know, if he's a regular on the Edmonton Oilers, he might not be playing in the World Junior over Christmas. So, have
the Oilers talked about, or have you talked to any players, coaches about, you know, preparing to go to Europe? I mean, I know it's, you know, it's what is it, 8-hour time difference over to Sweden, and they're starting on the regular season there, and then they're flying back.
It's inconvenient for the Oilers, really, to be playing over there. Normally, you fill out your 23-man roster. You're looking at everybody else's roster. You're in North America along with everybody else, and you're seeing, okay, this player's available. Well, what if a player's available? Then you got to fly them all the way to Europe, and the Oilers are going to take 3 goalies. So what are they? They're going to take Al Montoya and Koskinen?
It's not ideal. It's going to be fun and be a great experience and all that stuff for the players. And if they do start well, then, you know, they can say that was the launching pad. But this is something that I think right now they're going to have to overcome, as opposed to, you know, having it serve them.